Hello Twitch, Christopher here. We are back with another stream for this weekend. I'm on a roll this weekend, but I'm so happy that I can actually stream 2 days in a row and 2 times each day. This is awesome, and all thanks to the fact that I am actually capable of having weekends to myself fully without work. That is just purely awesome, and I'm so happy that I have that option. Hope everyone has been doing fine. I hope your evening, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you, has been great. Not bad, at least. Going to continue the Acropolis. Where is that? You know, I don't remember the names of the levels sometimes, so yeah, I might actually seem lost. But never mind. I'm also having honey beer, craft type of beer, so I just felt like something sweet, but still like a cooler beverage. Barely tastes like beer. And it just tastes like honey, mostly. And it's awesome. I'm so happy that I can actually stream with you guys, and yeah, actually today we're moving to my rather most likable, most liked elements of the game, of this section of the game, because we're going to be tackling some of the ruins, which actually look really good. At least in this version of the game, because I remember Xbox 360 version and ooh, that was not a pretty picture. But I'm speeding up the facts. Let's focus on here and now. Oh, that's loud to me. I hope it's not too loud for you guys. I think I might just put it a bit down. I think it's still audible. Oh, golly. My puppers really wants me to suffocate today. Just farting like there's no tomorrow. I hope it doesn't foreshadow any emergency. But you never know. You know, dogs are peculiar creatures sometimes. Ah yes, this is the Acropolis. This is what they call the Acropolis. I would not call it an Acropolis, but hey, who am I to judge? I would like to point out that they flew out of a mountain in a forest, so well, that's kind of hilarious.
Oh God, no.
Whoever directed this game, so I would like to talk to him. Why did Camilla's voice need to be so breathy? This is one of my biggest problems with her dubbing. Her voiceover is more or less competent, but I mean emotionally at least. But when it comes to that over breathy vibe to her, it's just like itty bitty over the top. Are they trying to highlight something?
It is our first.
I don't know.
I want answers, but what choice do I have?
I don't need you to have answers. I want you to shut up. I had a new rifle. Is that it? Because I dislike this rifle genuinely. Yeah, I think so. Is there like an artifact or a collectible? No, I think I mixed up the tents. There's so many.
It's a reliquary box. Something used to protect and hold relics of the saints. Anything from teeth to fingers to the entire head. This claims to be a relic of the Prophet.
Claims, but it's not, because you can't have a reliquary of someone who's not dead. Unless you cut off his finger. Has anyone tried to cut off Jacob's finger? Or like take a pull of his hair or something? Hair grows back, but what about the rest? Like, if you chop off his finger, will it grow back? Kind of an appropriate question, but... why is she so dirty? I haven't been, like, rolling all the time. Sounds more like a war zone than an abandoned valley that has just a, I don't know, a few dozen people that are defending themselves.
The courtyard's clear. What do you want us to do with these prisoners? Take them out. Don't shoot. We will...
Missed one. Be more thorough going forward. What's our status?
Looks all clear here. Team 4 is searching the tunnels for any sign of the Atlas.
Spread out and sweep the area.
I think that about covers it. Think so. I wish the camera was a bit further from Laura. I really don't like in games with cameras just too close to the character. And you can't even see their feet. Oh, I thought you can jump into the crate, but apparently you can't. Oh lol. It doesn't even burn properly in this fire. Is there anything else I can pick up or collect or whatever? Gather? Oh no.
I don't want to miss out on a hunt.
Jesus, you're insatiable. Whoa. Hey, check this out.
We don't have time for this. Let's move.
Yeah, well, you should make time. It's why we're here. Just give me a second. What was that?
That was your death. Ooh, that must have hurt.
Damn it!
Hey, hold up. These bastards are resourceful. They might have set up some traps.
Don't worry. I'll kill anything that moves.
Just take it slow. Stay sharp.
Bye-bye, dudes. What's with her neck? Why is she looking like that? There we are.
All right, my friend. Your turn.
I won't tell you anything.
See, I believe you, which is why we're just gonna beat you until you stop breathing. That way, when I ask the next guy what the Atlas is, he'll know I'm serious.
You made your point.
If it makes you uncomfortable, spin around and face the wall. I have to admit, I prefer this. Questions just get in the way.
No.
Oh, congrats.
Heads up! Incoming! I see her! Take her down!
Bastards.
Rather cowards.
Untie me. I'll kill every last one of them. Easy, Sophia. So much bloodshed.
And she's so easy to
We're losing
to
too
kill.
many people. Maybe your people have sacrificed enough. It's all we've known. I misjudged you, Lara. Tell me how I can help you. I've got to get the rest to safety. But the entrance to the catacombs is blocked. I'll find a way to clear it.
You're gonna be okay.
I'm all right. I'll be all right. Just help us get the others to safety.
Just breathe. We'll get you to safety. Just hold on. It must be over.
I mean, this is where you live. Don't you know that there's a way out of here? a foreigner, a stranger has to come and show you the way out. Your ancestors built this place. Shouldn't you know it by
Try not to
hand?
move.
Be still now.
This mural shows the moment they found the valley. It must have looked like a paradise. There it is. Maybe I can unblock it from here.
The catacombs. We'll be safe.
Some kind of armory. This should do it.
Wait, wasn't it bright day when I entered these ruins, and now it's looks like a dead of night? Yeah, I love manipulating the times of days to your own convenience, without even foreshadowing any sort of sunset or anything.
An ancient deer charm carved from a stag's antler.
Whatever. Guess there's nothing else to explore. So after this little
Get clear of the door!
MacGyver section, we crafted explosive arrows again.
Thank you, Laura. They'll be safe in the catacombs for now. I know you seek the divine source, but my people will die to protect it.
Your people are already dying. You can't protect it forever.
We've lasted this long. But for now, I'm glad to have you as an ally.
They're converging on the tower. We still got people there.
Get the others to safety. They'll need you.
Incredible. Lighting is definitely good. Gotta give them that.
Of course, it's a riddle. But if I'm reading this right...
Just in case she starts talking. Dodge, kill, and mastery, that will come in handy.
We're taking fire from the choppers. I need you to get Trinity's attention. Any way you can.
A papal bull. The lead seal marking the authenticity of a document. This must have been attached to something of great import, like a writ of excommunication. Leave it to me. I can do this.
I'm wondering, all of those buildings, fortifications kind of stand out. And considering that the Russians and the Soviets probably would have been interested, how is this still standing? How did these people survive?
Over here! We need your...
I'm under fire! Grenade out! I'm taking fire! I got a hit! Keep almost down! Covering fire! Focusing! I got a hit!
Oh sure, let's throw it over everything.
Closer out! Fire in the hole!
Fuck off. Bastards. To quote Lara on that.
Jacob, it looks like we've got the upper hand.
Good work. Those choppers should be in range soon.
They're here. We did it.
Lara, are you there? Trinity is swarming the tower. We're trapped in the catacombs beneath.
Damn! Just hold on. I'm on my way.
I'm not, actually. I'll just explore and do challenges which are meaningless. Because I can. Because XP and all that stuff. Yeah, you wish.
It is.
Bye. Right, so since we've disposed of this unsavory gentleman, we can proceed to dispose of the rest of them. We will definitely streamline and will simplify their payroll in Trinity. At least in this division.
This is Team 5. We're heading into the catacombs. Need some backup here.
Hello, girls. Got a room for a third.
Right I am.
For the fourth, I mean.
Hold this position. Keep her down. I got fired.
Bye.
Reinforcements are here. Pin her down.
Oh, they're dying in space.
Come and try. Come on.
Uh-oh.
Hostile spotted. I am gonna kill you.
Bye-bye, dudes. Well, that was difficult. And this is
Jacob,
relatively hard difficult.
they're gone.
I fear this battle is far from over.
Will you tell me more about this place?
You've earned that much. Come with me. In ancient times, our prophet brought the divine source to this valley. My ancestors built Katesh to protect it from the outside world.
To what end? What is the divine source, Jacob?
An artifact from a time long forgotten. We believe it holds a fragment of God's soul. Legend tells us those who beheld the source were granted immortality. But others have always been drawn here, seeking its power.
Trinity.
Yes. They seek to spread their darkness across the world. With the source, their soldiers would be unstoppable.
Then help me find it before they do.
This is not your burden.
Of course it is. My father died for this.
Did
You
he
can't
go?
fill the emptiness inside you, Lara. You can only set it free.
What the hell does that
I'm
mean?
gonna find it.
How do you
with
set
or without
free
you.
emptiness? You shouldn't start looking logic in Extreme Raider, I know, but it's just stronger than me.
Wait, Sophia, let me go. I have to do what I can. You spilt blood for us. I want to help. You know where the Atlas is? The cathedral, in the archives below. But we won't follow you there.
Why? What will I find?
There are others. The Deathless Ones. They will kill any who trespass. My father believes they will stop Trinity.
I can't take that chance.
I know. Here. Take this. It will help you reach the cathedral.
Right, okay. Nope. Nope.
Lara, if you're headed to the cathedral, Trinity will be everywhere.
I know,
Lara
but I
doesn't
have no
care.
choice.
Lara thinks she's a badass.
So much fun.
Shut up. Every single camp always has to comment. No.
We have it.
There we go. Shotgun break action piece.
I don't think we'll see much resistance from the natives. Not after this.
We'll probably catch a few more stragglers slinking around the woods, but yeah.
You think any alive? I had one who probably could have delivered. Bonus wasn't worth it.
Yeah. One of them surrendered and the company men were watching. Had to turn him over.
They taking him back to the old prison?
Just the ones they think might know something about the Atlas. Constantine's gonna ask them a few questions. They've got the rest. Huh. I'll check it out.
Keep close.
Oh. I think you're on to me. Bye.
Just the ones they think might know something about the Atlas. Constantine's gonna ask them a few questions. They've got the rest back up near the cathedral.
Someone's gonna have some fun.
That must be them. I was hoping they'd draw straws for that job. Oh well. How long you been on the payroll?
A few months. This is my first wet work assignment. It's been too long since I was in the field. I got rusty. You?
Been with Constantine for just about a year now. Had an old war buddy that vouched for me. Before that, I was working for one of the families in Kiev, and I had to get out of town.
Is there always this much opportunity?
No, this is a special case. Savor it. Usually it's much smaller scale and more discreet.
That's a shame. I could get used to this.
Yeah, I don't know. Something's weird about this. The company men are acting antsy out here. Usually they're all business.
Something about the job? Something they ain't telling us.
Can't say. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Should just enjoy the moment, but...
I hear you. Those guys giving me the creeps as it is.
False alarm.
Roger that.
Over there! He's there! Open fire! Cover me!
Focusing! She's there! Open fire! I'm in a fighting position! Moving into position!
Fire in the hole!
Should do it. As enemies, they're really pathetic. They have zero AI and they're really not challenging. The only challenge is when they really deal a lot of damage. Otherwise, they're just pathetic. But then again, all of the enemies in Tomb Raider used to be just combat meat, damage sponges, nothing else. They just prolonged their time before you could get to the target. Or before you could come back to exploring. And it's hard to expect an advanced AI from a company that never did anything ambitious regarding combat. This is probably the biggest combat they did until they did Avengers. They never did games like this.
guns can finish the sweep down here. We're needed back at base camp. Leave them to it. Roger, we're clear. Copy that.
Shut up.
All right, once we finish scrubbing this site, you men can head on up with the rest of them.
So what are we looking for exactly?
Command thinks the Atlas is beneath the cathedral. We're looking for... We got incoming! Hostile!
I got her!
Yeah, your mother. Yeah, that's behind the barricade. Great.
You.
For
Oh, that was a glitch.
So what did he say? It's not his call, but he's gonna put a recommendation in for us both. Then there'll be an initiation ceremony of some sort. So that's it? That's all he can do? Look, some of those guys were on contract for years before Trinity gave them rank. You have to be patient. There's more to it than performance.
Like what?
There's some sort of oath, and then the ceremony. He said we'd find out soon enough.
Come to Laura.
down. We flew in some heavy equipment less than an hour ago. Anna's up there already. She thinks they'll find the Atlas inside.
All right, how's it look?
I thought the survey team reported there was nothing there.
One of the captives showed us a hidden passage. There's a whole series of catacombs down below.
Let's hope this is it.
We did a sweep of the buildings, found a straggler hiding in the lodge, but otherwise it looks clear.
Good. Okay, make sure everyone stays sharp.
We worried about a counterattack?
Maybe, but not from the natives. They won't risk it now that we have prisoners.
The Croft girl, then.
Yes, Anna wants her alive. If possible.
That's not gonna happen. Heard she cut a swath with the assault teams up the tower.
Yeah, I know. If she shows up here, I'm not gonna bat an eye if someone puts her down. Understand? It's not worth the risk.
Of course, no one heard that, right?
I think I heard something. I'll take a look. Be careful.
That's the most clumsiest stealth section I've ever seen.
Nothing. Roger.
The fact that these idiots are falling for it. Oh, that did it. That's a lynx, isn't it? It looks like one.
thin, fluted flint arrowhead, snapped in two. The base is familiar.
Heads up. We seem to have lost contact with the team sweeping the lower valley. Do you have eyes on them?
Negative. Possible hostiles?
Could just be radio interference, but Constantine's not taking chances.
This animation is so unnecessary cruel. Hell? Well, your friend went to hell. Oh, fuck you.
If you feel you're being pursued, then I suggest you move faster.
She's a bitch. But then again, we already knew that, haven't we?
It's got to be down there.
Kill an unarmed woman? That would be cold even for you, Lara. Then again, I know why you haven't pulled that trigger. Shoot me, and my men will cut you down within seconds. It's the one thing they're better at than you.
Shut up, Anna.
Don't move! You have nowhere to go!
Kill her! Now! Those generators! They're gonna pull us both down! Shit! Lara! Lara! I can't hold on!
Well, then fall down. Then slip down, for Christ's sake. Do you think we're gonna save her because we like her or something?
Reconsider my offer, Laura, before it's too late.
It was too late the moment
That was
you
a good
betrayed
one.
my family. I'm getting the Atlas, Anna.
Something is slaughtering my men down there, Laura. If they can't find it, neither can you.
Go to hell!
That pistol was enormous, by the way.
Croft is on her way. Kill her and bring me that goddamned Atlas.
Stop bringing that stupid... No more rice. What's wrong? Have you played it too much lately? Or have you been watching it too much?
That's it. It has to be.
Let's shut her up in case. Ah, 2 skill points. 2 recently. Well, I've been playing it for the past few weeks now, few streams. So I don't think it should be that much of a surprise. Death from above. Not that I'm gonna use it anytime soon, although... Yeah, well, I'm replaying it in this form of a retrospective review of a thing. Don't know if it is a thing, but for me it is. Alright then.
An old mural. And those vessels. Greek fire. The Prophet's deathless army, armed with Greek fire. They were unstoppable.
Yeah, I do understand it. The game is... awful at best.
Smell. Oh no.
I mean, gameplay-wise, it could be tolerable, but the storyline is just so tedious.
Oh God.
Bye. but not without looting you. I don't know, it just... I want to be done with it so I won't have to play this game on stream any
What the hell is that?
time soon. And I can go to the more pleasant games. Honestly, for what it's worth, I would rather... Well, that's why it's awful, because it's nothing original, really. The story isn't even coherent. It barely holds up. It doesn't make much sense. Even in geography, they make a huge miss. See, the first game actually made sense in terms of the legends following the game followed. The geography, the location for it. It all could have been
When the Emperor died.
plausible, I guess. Yeah, if you search for the Lake Svetloyar, you will see what it looks like. It's near Moscow. It's nowhere near Siberia. There are no mountains. There is literally no snow. The lake is extremely small, and you know, they didn't even Google the location. Like, it wouldn't make sense if they were like exploring a theory that Katash was actually just where the legend stuck, but it actually was somewhere else. And that would have made sense, like somewhere on the way from Byzantine Empire, on the way to Katash, or somewhere nearby. And you wouldn't be bothered that much. They could have made any numbers of names for those cities, for the city or whatever. It just required a little bit of thought. And then anything else that happens in this game wouldn't be so annoying to me, because I'm really annoyed when the game treats me as an idiot. I know that this is an American studio and they probably target themselves over for American audience, but for crying out loud, there are other people who are more fascinated by history and archaeology, and they've been following the series partially, at least for that aspect, you know, discovering something new, something ancient that has not been discovered before. And I didn't mind like the entirely implausible story of Atlantis in Tier 1, but it was still something, you know, that even if you wrote it for realism, it would still, you could still make it work. And Katash and Rise, they don't make sense in any meaning. Like, there is, and the fact that, you know, somehow using the same artifacts, Jacob was the saint, but everyone else, like the Deathless who are in these ruins, are just like mindless monsters. I mean, like, why was he so special? What made him so special that he became a second Jesus? Meanwhile, the people here, they become obsessed with protecting the divine source for their own ends. I mean, what made them such mindless monsters that they even have mutated sounds? I mean, there is not even an ounce of attempt to make this explained in any way or giving you anything to think about. So, whilst this game does mostly the same stuff, it's like someone tried to combine Rise, 2013 with Anniversary, because there are a lot of parallels between this game and Anniversary from 2007. And I don't think a lot of people notice those parallels, but even visually and in the visual language of this game, there is a lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot of stuff that has been totally made up, and they didn't even really try to think about it, you know. And I just don't like when the game tries to insult me in that way. But even though, when you look at the parallels, Laura is going through the same story as she did in Anniversary, basically. She's following her dad's research, that's one. Secondly, there is an artifact that supposedly he was seeking after following his wife's death. The game starts on a snowy mountain with Lara overviewing the mountain pass. There are Greek-looking ruins. Yeah, that's another thing I have a problem with. You can easily make a proper Soviet atmosphere. I don't feel like I'm in Europe even, for that matter. This does not look like any place in the world. Like, even when you're in the geothermal valley or in the Soviet installation, you don't feel that. You know, I loved the Stalker series, and then I moved over to the Metro series, and it felt so familiar because we know that architecture, and you know this is authentic. You really can't make it up out of a few pictures from Google, probably, and just make stuff up, so it doesn't even resemble anything from that era and from that region. There is something specific about the Soviet architecture, the Soviet story, the Soviet history, and the gulags and working camps and all that stuff, and it's just so sidelined. It makes no sense that the story. You know, if the Russians from the Soviet Union found out about remnants of an ancient civilization that have been living on their grounds for 1,000 years, god damn, there would be not a brick standing here by now. And they would have probably found the divine source, and they would have built an entire facility like Kazakhstan facility over the Project Carbonek. Now that place actually held some merit. Meanwhile, fast forward 10 years later, almost, this does not. So if anyone asks me, they just really went for the easy way. In any terms. But that's just me. I really genuinely think that this game is superfluous. It adds nothing to Lara's supposed growing up process after the first game. And it's so funny that it doesn't tackle the things that they've advertised.
Trinity, they're here.
Target acquired. Can't wait for other. Clear the gate now.
Roger that. Thermite screw. Set the charge.
Light it. Go.
Yeah, of course, they could have done a lot of stuff, like... They just went for the visual, superficial stuff and never bothered with anything else. And that's just sad, because they had huge potential. Even the story they wrote for the game actually could have been made for something ambitious and, you know, interesting, but they just went for the easy way. Well, let's just retell the reboot, but let's put it in a different setting so we can have winter. What's the best location for winter? I don't know. Himalayas? Nah, Himalayas is too small, and it's gonna be so hard to make all the mountains realistic. Okay, so what about Siberia? Are there any mountains in Siberia? No, they're not. Oh well, but let's just make that there is. No one's gonna check. And that's how they went with it, really. They had a wonderful prologue and set up in Syria, and then they wasted it with this. Someone destroyed the fucking radios. The idiot who invented those radios. There is a special place for you in hell.
I have zero visibility. Someone dropped all about the key.
The other fire teams reported multiple contacts. We're on our own.
Got it covered.
And I'm out of... Oh, there's just one more.
We're under attack.
Why is the music still so... Oh my god, things are gonna be happening and there's nothing happening. Is there someone left here? Maybe shooting someone? Yep. That's one of the reasons why I think Shadow, despite everything, despite PyTT, it is still a superior game, and I just can't wrap my head around why people like Rise of the Tomb Raider and they think it's the best of the trilogy. Because it's not, it's everything but the best. It does everything wrong, it does everything backwards. They had potential which they set up perfectly in the prologue and then they wasted it away. Not to mention the parallels between Anniversary. If you look at it, even the ending of Anniversary is the same. No, the graphics are not better. I'm going to be streaming the definitive edition. I mean, sure, on Xbox One X, and when you're looking at the Xbox 360 base version, sure, they will look better, and even the PC version is shoddy at best when it comes to graphics, because the Lara model is from Xbox 360, which is lame. But when you look at like the base game, and I mean, when you look at the definitive edition and look at this one, I still think that there are elements in definitive edition that look better than this one. Like, for example, the nature, the foliage, the vegetation, it looks a lot better in 2013 in definitive edition than this one. Because it acts more realistically, because it looks better. I mean, I'm not saying that every element of 2013 in definitive edition will look better, but I mean, I'm totally not buying the ugly snow that they made for this game, and not to mention that half of the snowy locations don't have the dynamic snow because, I don't know, maybe it was so resource hungry. By the way, such fire, much fire, like, she's not even reacting standing next to burning bush, like I'm going into the fiery thing and just, like, yeah, the funny thing is that, yeah, I do remember that. I mean, honestly, I played it with day one patch. I have tried to play Shadow without the day one patch, and yeah, I do understand that the game was buggy. I deliberately uninstalled it to see how much different will it look. And how different will it play? There's a lot of stuff that IDOS really didn't carry over from the previous game, and honestly, that is a huge disappointment. But their aim was still quite good. I don't know who made the fixes for the day one patch, but they really made the game more enjoyable, and you know, they later fixed out the shadows. You know, I remember that 2013, when it was released, it was not free of bugs. Oh, no. I remember that they were releasing patch after patch would fix Lara's arms when she's in water and fix some of her model elements that were problematic upon release. I played it on PC when it was released, and I saw huge differences with each patch, but I'm always looking at the final product that we're being stuck with. I don't care about the earlier versions because today it's not the final product. We could argue that, yeah, sure, what you ship is what you get, but in today's standards, if you dislike a game upon release, at the beginning of its course, because Shadow, for instance, how can I stop watching those stupid conversations, these cutscenes? When you're looking at, like, for instance, I don't know, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The first impression was extremely buggy, but the game received a lot of praise and really high notes. I really can't see why, but the game still has been fixed. And when Shadow was released, for instance, it was at the beginning of a 9-month run. They were supposed to release subsequently each month a new DLC, which obviously would have come with a fix or some sort of patch, which it did. And can the game stop telling me where to go? The hand leading is just atrocious in this game. The camera has to show you everything, where you need to go, what you need to do. Lara has to comment on everything. Of course, her voice needs to be extremely breathy, so you think you're gonna vomit. And sure, Definitive Edition is a later thing though, but it's odd. But Definitive Edition is the only version you can play on current generation. We can't judge the game for its previous generation run, especially if it received a later release, and this game did. So yeah, sure, we can argue that yeah, sure, the game wasn't released in perfect condition. No game today is. Oh, we have an update to this one. I'll definitely take it. But at the very end, I don't look at the release state of the game, because today you can't look at the release state of the game. Sure, a lot of people do, but it's because they're only the consumers. They don't really sometimes understand how the development process works and what is involved and what resources are required to even make a decent, competent game. No game has been released in the past decade or so, ever since like current generation, that or the past one, that has not received a patch, at least upon release, and has not received 2 or 3 after it was put out to the market. And sure, the first impressions might be important. They give you an idea about a lot of things, but do they predetermine the state of the game? I don't think so. By the way, this texture of the foliage is, well, it's just a texture. It's poor. I mean, it's higher quality than it is on PC, but ugh. Edmonton edition? What's that? Xbox One S, so it's washed out because it can't even hold up 1080p. I get it. Oh no, I think it does run a few games in 1080p. I don't know, I have not played Xbox One S, so it's hard for me to say. It was a slim sort of version of it, but I know it wasn't the strongest machine. I do have Xbox One X, and I remember the Xbox 360 PS3 version of this, of the first one of the 2013. Then I had the atrocity of playing Rise of the Tomb Raider on Xbox 360, which should never happen. Same as Cyberpunk 2077 should not happen on PS4 and Xbox One. And I have to say that was atrocious. It looked worse than 2013. Sure, the first segments of the game, they look beautiful because they really put effort into it. But that's the funny thing. The only showcased areas of Rise shown on Xbox 360 were the introductory levels in Syria and the beginning of Russia, because they were really nicely ported. Everything else was just big blur. Big brown blur. Hello. Good night. I love the rebreather here. It's like the Star Wars technology. It allows you to submerge indefinitely, but the submerging is just beneath the surface and suddenly they're blind to you. You know, they can be looking at you and they will not see you. Bye. Oh, this guy looks like Joe now. I dislike genuinely from technological standpoint that they did not even properly mocap the animations for Lara in the reboot series. They used the mocap stuff that they did for Underworld, namely the ledge climbing and shimmying. Well, upon release, the Xbox One X version already had its upgrades. So the game was released simultaneously to all systems and with those systems in mind. Like, for instance, Shadow runs in native 4K, and it's the engine limitation that the game does not have sharp shadows when you're close to the count. When the camera is close, they're sharper, but as soon as you look a bit further away from Lara, it's going to be extremely blurry, and you can see that they're kind of buffering and getting sharper as you get closer to them, which is lame, but I think it's a limitation of the engine. Same as probably the reason why changing locations through fast travel does not alter the time of day and weather conditions like it does in Rise in 2013. I think that was the sacrifice they did for all the foliage and all the lighting, because, you know, I don't mind the lighting. It just shows badly, shows a bit flat when you're looking at the lighting on the older models, like especially from the 2013 and the classics. But I don't think that's necessarily like their fault. I think it was just the technology they used. But I think I prefer Shadow over Rise for one particular reason. If you played, I don't know which platform, I'm not sure if you played Rise only on Xbox or have you played it on any other platform, but every other platform has been terribly ported, and I'm talking from PC to PlayStation 4 and even PlayStation 4 Pro. The Rise of the Tomb Raider on distant objects, like, you know, the trees, the ledges, you will see extreme artifacts, ledges, sharp as, you know, as knives, just, you know, but you know, they will look like stairs. They will be poking you in the eyes. The visuals of the game, especially in 1080p, it's just showing so badly. PC has no anti-aliasing technology. It's just a superfluous, superficial effect that they've added, but it's not actually an anti-aliasing. I've seen an analysis of it, and they complain that the PC board does not get a proper anti-aliasing technology, whilst it gets only on Xbox One X. I suppose it comes with the territory of the exclusivity. Xbox really wanted the game to shine on this platform specifically, so they probably required that the contract will include that. Yeah, it's a simple one, but it's not effective in long distance. When you're looking at a longer distance, further objects on PC, you will see those awfully sharp ledges of objects that are just really looking bad, especially in the areas where there's a lot of foliage, namely trees and bushes. It's going to show up in the distance. It's something you will not see on Xbox One X version like this one, but everywhere else it's just going to be very badly rendered in terms of like smoothing the edges. They're just not smoothened enough. Yeah, exactly. Fast forward to Xbox One X, you don't have a single edge showing as false. You know, they don't stand out like they do on the PC version. So the game has been terribly ported in that regard. Oh, I shouldn't have fallen down. Anyway, Rise is just like, yeah, let's do it again. People like the 2013, let's do it again. No one's gonna notice. Everyone noticed. Yeah, TR, especially. I mean,
Don't think I've cracked this yet. I'll have to come back.
Shut up, Laura. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do. But yeah, the PC ports especially have always been a bit problematic. I still remember that the PC version of Underworld actually requires you to enable the blur effect in the depth of field manually in the registry of the game because it's disabled by default. Oh look, more flat vine textures with a little bit of object added, which completely does not match the texture behind it. So you remember that there is I don't think it's going to be here though. No, by the way, look at this texture here. I mean, this looks like the texture has melted. Sure, it's not in the forefront, but I still think this is a sloppy job. Have you ever seen... Yeah, the game is visually unremarkable. I think this is the most memorable location because it feels so Greek, but you don't spend a lot of time for it to remember this place too well. I'm kind of extending it, but do you remember in 2013 when you were in the village, when Rolf is unconscious and you're exploring it during the storm? There are a few hanging boxes on ropes. I'm going to show you the same box in Rise and the physics in it. That's just going to speak for itself. That's not what I wanted.
That should clear the way a bit.
Oh shit. It's funny because it's going to be the identically same box that's hanging on the same rope in the same way, the same length of the rope. Reason why I'm not sprinting is that the sprinting animation is ridiculous.
Dylan! Dylan! Shit! Morse! Dylan's gone! What? No.
Yeah, we should call it it's the box, it box. Fuck off. The box? A box deserves a name. Alright. I'll bite. What would you name a box? They named the box, but they did name a box in Shadow, so I guess it's fair. Stupid radios, fuck off. Copycat. Yeah, the entire game is a copycat. It's the same. It has the same problem as Anniversary. The color palette is bland. It's unmemorable. It makes the game kind of like just boring. And why is there a light shining from inside, from within the hole? And those silly effects, you know, that trap could have been done a lot better. And I could go on and on how this game is so simply bad. Here's the box, let me show you. When you get on the box in 2013, it's going to be just swinging nicely. But in this game, that's strange. Maybe it's a thing for Xbox 3, for the Xbox One. Yeah, it's identical box. It's just the same one. You can even climb it the same way you could climb it in 2013. On PC version, at the very least, if you stand on this box, it's going to be swinging extremely fast. Like the physics was just, you know, a joke. I'm actually surprised that on the Xbox One X it looks a little bit more competent, but it didn't used to. I'm not sure why is it swinging normally. I wouldn't expect that they've patched it because there haven't been any download patches for the game since. No, it's not losing FPS. It's just swinging very fast. Like there was some sort of limitation for how far it can swing, so it just swings from left to right like it was bouncing from a wall. So it's still fast, even though it's supposed to lose speed as the time progresses.
There's more vessels in there. Should be able to pull them out.
Well, we've got 30 FPS here, so that shouldn't be a problem. Let's be honest, what do they have no problems with? The AI of the enemies is non-existent, especially here. The enemies are acting like they're brainless, literally brainless. Let's do the same thing again.
Looks like they were always prepared for war. They must have been put into storage.
They're not
here.
buggy, they're just
But these
written
containers
as
are broken.
stupid idiots that don't have brains. Oh my god, yes, the enemies, the animal enemies in Legend. I mean, to be honest, I think they kind of try to do something with the animals in Underworld. A bit.
There's still more to do here. I'll be back this way.
Shut up, Laura. At least the spiders have some sort of AI in terms of like, no! Don't you fucking dare falling over. There you go. I honestly didn't have half of the bugs that people complain about in Underworld. I don't know why. Maybe because I played it on Xbox 360 and the Xbox 360 was the promoted one and that was the one that they actually wrote the game for, so it wasn't buggy. I played it on PC, I don't know, quite a few years later for the first time because I didn't have a decent PC to run it properly. And when I had no issues because I was still playing same way as I learned on the Xbox 360, so it's hard for me to say. I did not have a lot of bugs in Underworld. Sure, when she runs into a connection between like a flat surface and a curvy or sliding surface, she sometimes gets into a glitch when she's not sure whether she's supposed to slide or stand, and it kind of shows.
Oh God!
Sure, the transitions of the animations are very bad. Why am I being...
Oh no, no!
Oh look, the box again.
Almost.
Why do I still have the weapon indicator? I would like to understand. Sure. When that explodes next to an enemy, he's dead. When it explodes next to Lara, nothing happens.
Jacob, I made it. I'm out.
Lara, thank God you're all right. Bring the Atlas to me in our observatory in the mountains.
I'm on my way.
By the way, after this section, after this chase, when you get into the water, she will always be sprinting, so you need to reload the checkpoint. Otherwise, she will be constantly sprinting underwater. That makes me mad. Most is that AOD wanted to have example dogs climbing geometry trail they never delivered, but neither any of the game even thought over 15 years past. Yeah, that's another thing. But the problem with Crystal is that they've never done any other games like this. They only did some fantasy games that were set in a world where, well, basically they didn't have to tackle a lot of physics because
Jacob,
they were doing stuff that really isn't very realistic.
Thank God you're all
So
right.
they didn't even have to follow any particular rules. If you look at their portfolio, it's mostly fantasy stuff that really gave them the freedom to do whatever they wanted, and they didn't have to follow any predefined rules. They also must be very much pissed that they need to follow some sort of previous, established formula, and they were really struggling with following it in the LAU trilogy, and then they said, fuck it, we're not gonna do it. Well, not necessarily stolen, it was just moved over because Silicon Knights couldn't actually handle making it anything out of it. But to be honest, I think they made the Legacy of Kain shine. I did enjoy those games. It's just that they were not made for a realistic approach, and ever since they took over, they are trying to do, especially in Reboot, they are trying to pull off the realistic aesthetic, which does not correspond with the unrealistic stuff that's happening in the game, and that's kind of creates a dissonance. It just shows that it's false, it's not real, it's not authentic, it's not honest. The game is just not being honest to the players. It's been advertised like, oh, we're going to be tackling psychological issues because Lara is in psychiatry lessons. Fast forward to this game, nothing. By the way, did you know about this?
Okay, let's begin. It's Tuesday, the 25th of July, and I am here with Miss Lara Croft. How are you this afternoon, Miss Croft?
Fine, thank you.
Miss Croft, there's a bit of a joke about the word fine in psychiatry, that it often stands for feelings inside, not expressed.
I thought jokes were supposed to be funny.
It's possible I oversold its value as a joke. However, if we're going to get anything out of our time together, you need to be honest. Now, can you honestly tell me that you feel fine?
No, not for a while.
Laura is almost completely closed off. But it's clear that she's in pain. Trinity will undoubtedly want me to use this against her.
That's funny because the game is advertised with a psychology therapy session. And here you go, the transcripts from those psychology sessions, from those therapy sessions in the game with voiceover from Anna suggesting that Trinity actually planted the therapist in front of Lara so they could crack what she knows and perhaps follow, or maybe even block her from pursuing any of the archaeological stuff that she wanted to go for. And that's never even mentioned that you have it in the game. Like, I think you find those sessions after one of the missions, side missions for the remnants in the Siberian, the winter sections. I think it's called the Soviet installation. And it doesn't even say that you got them. You just have to go into documents and find them. Which I think is pretty lame, considering that was something that they advertised. What do you mean Legacy of Kain drama is similar to Train drama? Like they took over another studio's game? Or an idea for it? Well, I don't know. Both situations are pretty shoddy and really hard to determine.
This commemorates the construction of a great city. Kitesh.
This commemorates sloppiness in level building because I can see through a hole, a gap in the level.
Lara! Lara, are you up there?
Jonah, is that you?
Little bird! You're alive! I knew it!
Why? Why would he call her
Jonah,
little
what
bird?
are you doing here? Where are you?
I'm up here in some kind of fortress. You can thank Jacob. His people picked me up half dead out on the tundra.
I can't believe you came after me.
Is that so hard to believe? I told you I got your back. I couldn't leave you out here alone.
I'm on my way up to you now. Don't go anywhere.
Hadn't planned on it. Be careful out
Why
there.
is she gesturing if she's listening? Can never understand. Wow. I would have known. I wasn't actually following how they took over from the Silicon Knights. Yeah, except Core was not in a position to actually do a lawsuit against it because they never owned anything. That was a cleaner situation, I suppose. By the way, I remember that in Legend, when Lara performed a role in a water puddle, she would get wet. fast forward 10 years later, Lara rolls in water and she's dry as a desert. Same thing goes for waterfalls. You know, you walk under a waterfall in Legend and Lara's wet. Fast forward here, you can stand in a waterfall all day and she'll be dry as a bag of rice. Talking about consequence. She gets wet when she falls into water and stands in the rain, so I guess that's something. I don't know. I keep picking on this game, but I probably shouldn't kick the person who's already down. Ah, fuck it. I hate it. I still think it's the inferior game. Yeah, same goes for Legend, and you know, in the Xbox 360 version that actually works as well in the next gen, but next gen on PC is not having any of that. I still remember the thing they were telling that they're gonna be in the game when Underworld was in the works. Like, there's going to be dynamic time of day, weather, all that kind of stuff. I've even seen a GIF screenshot showcasing Lara standing in Mexico, still yet without a lot of foliage. And you could clearly see that the clouds on the sky were moving, and the lighting on Lara was changing, and it was dynamic, and Lara was supposed to get wet or like muddy from soaking that particular part of her body into the mud instead of just being entirely covered in it. We're in 2018, latest game in the franchise, and that still does not happen. Why were they suggesting giving features that they couldn't deliver even almost 2 generations later? I mean, are we supposed to feel lied to or ignored, or I don't know. That's not what I wanted, Lara. Thank you. Now, there's been a lot of promises for the entire Tomb Raider franchise. I probably should have also remembered about all the promises for AOD, but the problem is AOD did not get enough time to be properly developed. That was probably the first game of that size and magnitude that was made by the people who were constantly developing for PlayStation 1. We've got to remember that. Crystal Dynamics did not build their first game like 5 years before they took Tomb Raider. They've been on the in the business for quite a while. So it's not like they had the technology. That's the difference. Yeah, I remember that one. I played it and I was amazed by that. I didn't play the entire game because it wasn't my thing. I don't really like RPGs. That's probably one of the reasons why I despise current state of Assassin's Creed and a lot of other games which forcibly put more and more RPG stuff into it. But aside from that, yeah, I do remember that there was a day and night cycle. Heck, I did it deliberately. I fucking didn't want to go down all the way and start over and have to climb over. It's just too much. That's fair. I mean, I do think that AC Origins is probably like the last proper Assassin's Creed. But the RPG elements, like the hack and slash combat system, was really atrocious. I deliberately avoided combat because I really hated it. But I did play every game except for Rogue, and I did never finish Syndicate because I think it was atrocity. The people who stand behind Syndicate and Odyssey literally should be deprived of the ability to make games. I don't know, I think until they finish, when they were finished with Ezio, I mean, Revelations, I think they had a pretty clear idea where they were going. It's Assassin's Creed, after Assassin's Creed 3 that they kind of felt like, let's do it more. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, let's do one more. If it sells, they're gonna do one more. It's just like an ending story, like, I don't know, like a TV show that lasts for 10 years because they don't know how to end it. I don't know, they don't know if the viewers and fans won't just riot and won't kill them, so they just continue it for the sake of continuation. But that's just my impression, and it's subjective, I suppose. I did feel like until the end of Ezio Arc, they pretty much knew what they were going. And afterwards it all went to shit because someone at Ubisoft decided, ooh, this produces money. Let's milk it until it dies. And fast forward today. Yeah, the game is washed out of its original feel, of its formula. The only common things that are still in this series is open world and viewpoints. Everything else is just wrong, especially that ever since Unity, with a small break for, I mean, no, that's wrong. Black Flag, and everything since Unity is not an Assassin's Creed game for the sake of, you are not an assassin in any of those games. Edward Kenway becomes an assassin, like, at the end of the game in Black Flag. The Fry brother and sister, the Fry twins, it's just, they don't feel like assassins. They don't take any consequences for what they do, and they do a lot of stupid shit that normally it wouldn't work for in Ezio's franchise, for instance. Odyssey, Origins, and Valhalla, they have nothing to do with Assassin's Creed because you are not an assassin throughout the games. At least, I don't know for Valhalla, but yeah, definitely the other games that I mentioned, you're not an assassin there, and it feels that it's really just a game that just continues the franchise. They all want to do a fantasy game set off like in Norse mythology, but you know, it's risky to make a new franchise from scratch. Even though you had the best idea ever, it's just like, oh my god, the accountant boss said that it's not gonna work. So what are we gonna do? We have a very good idea. Let's throw it into an unknown franchise that everyone loves and cherishes, and they will buy it for nostalgia. Or they will buy it because they bought every single one. It's just like, oh, it fucking hurts. It fucking hurts. I can't stand it. I really can't. When I see all that. They're throwing atrocious bullshit at us.
And dagger. Blade's gone.
Yeah, that's lovely, Laura. So I'm gonna do one more cutscene and we're gonna call it a day.
You look terrible. Terrible, but happy.
Jonah,
I
you
was
look
right,
like a
Jonah.
different person.
Dad was right. The divine source is
Different,
real.
but I don't know.
I wish he was here to see this.
He'd be proud of you. Sophia told me what you've done for her people.
Lara, it's good to see you, Sophia.
Well, they
Jacob was
changed them
waiting for you
between
in
the
the
first and the
observatory.
second game too. They also do not recognize Lara between 2013 and Rise. Her face has changed, and that's including the definitive edition model, which theoretically shouldn't be so much far-fetched. I don't know why they changed her face so much. Was it required because they wanted to do mocap and she needed more polygons? I don't know.
You actually found it. The founders of Katesh were skilled craftsmen. They used this place to view the Atlas.
Jonah, try those chains.
Got it.
I think they nailed her in between AOD and an Underworld. But yeah, every game had to have a different face, like it was like a tradition. Like I don't know, like it looked like they're changing the actress.
Incredible.
They must have used this to plan the construction of the city.
Like ancient blueprints.
Exactly. Everything radiates out from this point. That puts the center of the city under the lake. But, something's not right. The cathedral, where the Atlas was, it's on the wrong side of the map.
No, I can't stand
Keep
reboot
rotating
Lara's
it.
face.
Stop! That's it. Katesh isn't under the lake. It's under the glacier. The divine source must be there.
How the hell are we gonna get through all that ice?
You know why? It's because the resting bitch face she
Wait,
has when she's in the
this
game
path
alone.
here leads into the
Her
city.
face looks so uninterested in anything
The
that's
cathedral
happening.
is
It's
there.
just something I can't
The tower
stand.
on the other side. That means the entrance to Katesh must be...
No, I like the Underworld. She looked very much like AOD.
The
It's very
entrance to
similar.
Katesh is here. You knew.
It's the target!
Kill her.
The only thing that they did wrong in Underworld's model was her hands. But they never knew how to make proper hands in the older games, so I suppose that's something to be expected. Jonah, no! God, the way she screams his name is killing me on the inside. I hate the way she pronounces his name. And I swear to God, if I ever hear Jonah, I'm here in another game,
It won't be long before
I'm going to
Trinity discovers the
uninstall it
location of the
from
source.
whatever device I decide to play it on, and I will throw it out of the window, and I will never play it
Even if it
again.
means giving up the truth you came here to find.
He risked his life to come here with me. I almost lost him once. Not again.
Then go. Do what you must.
And I do not understand. They want a loading screen. Why did they just put a loading screen instead of this stupid camera pan showing non-existent mountains above the lake when nothing happens? And then there's that stupid
If Jonah
narration.
is alive, they must be holding him in the old Soviet gulag. I never wanted to go back to that terrible place, but I can't leave him in Trinity's hands now.
Funnily enough, he will not be going to Gulag because Gulag is totally different direction. Oh, well. What gives me 5 more minutes of gameplay? Her screaming Jonah. Yeah, I suppose so. But I did not want those additional 5 minutes of more gameplay, to be honest. I didn't ask for them.
Jonah, hold on.
Hold on.
Sophia, are you there?
Lara! Are you alright?
I'm up by the old copper mill overlooking
She's
the
smashing.
gulag. I'm about to go in after Jonah.
I know the spot.
After Jonah.
We hid a stash of weapons near where we first attacked Trinity. You might find them useful.
Thank you, Sophia.
You might
I'll see you
find
when I get
weapons
out.
useful. Yeah, the run was just an excuse to, I don't know what end, because they are totally superfluous. I mean, they're the only reason. The only reason that people are here is that they didn't probably want Jacob to be lonely, because they wanted the Prophet to survive to this day, and they were desperate to keep him inside the game. Because they thought, oh, it's such a good idea. He's used the artifact, he's immortal. Oh my god. We're never going to explain what this is all about with the immortality and how they give it to him, but yeah, we're just definitely going to have to keep him. Patitata. Oh my god. Oh shit. Yeah, well, it's completely useless, and unbelievable that anyone would live in those houses which have holes in their walls. Yeah, Paititi, it's just such a bad idea. Another bad idea is that Lara decides that she's going to wear local people's clothes, so she's gonna blend in. No, it doesn't matter that she's pale white. Yeah, that is awful. I think that is just terrible. I mean, I know what they were getting at, but that's not what makes it a Tomb Raider game. It makes it everything but a Tomb Raider game. And also, I literally hate this function. This is the stupidest things that has been made in a Tomb Raider game. I mean, this is not even viable, but it looks bad when she's jumping between them and just passing through the arrows. And you know, switching directions mid-air in just a fraction of a second because the game decided, oh, she's on the wrong side, it's gonna make her switch. I couldn't emphasize enough how bad this title is of all 3 games. Yeah, the idea of the remnants is... It's predictable, first of all. The problem is that it's predictable. I mean, I think right after she found herself in the cell with Jacob, I already knew that he's a prophet. I already knew that he's probably gonna die. Everything you could just make it out from the game's introduction. Oh yeah, that's possible to land on it. Oh god, don't even get me started on the animations. I mean, I do appreciate some of the animations that you have that were made in... But this animation, did anyone at any point decide that this looks good? Who? Why? When and why they are not yet fired? And this animation, oh my god. If Lara in the next game is still going to be climbing like this, I will not buy another Tomb Raider again. In fact, if they will be reusing the animation palette they have from a reboot era, I will absolutely cut myself away from anything Tomb Raider. I'll only play the classics and that's it. Yeah, everything went downhill when it comes to Crystal when they took over. But that's just probably me and you. Speaking of me and you, I'd love to stay and chat, but to be honest, I think my papa wants to go out. And it is getting late. It's almost 11 PM and I still got a few things to do before I go to bed. I will tell you why, because it's cheaper. Because it's cheaper to reuse the same animations, the same assets. You know, making a proper motion captured character, and that's just one character that you're playing, requires quite enough money, and then you need to have talented artists that will put them together. They don't have neither. Square Enix is cheap and they don't want them to overuse the budget, so obviously they will not finance a full-fledged mocap session, and they don't really have good animators anymore because that went out of the window 10 years ago when everyone stopped doing animations by hand and moved over to mocap. So now every game has mocap, but, well, that depends on the developer whether they're actually talented in doing that. Because they think that these animations are appreciated because they are, you know, they are superior because they're realistic, because they've been made in a studio of mocap studio. And they are supposedly, allegedly... Someone probably said that they look realistic. They don't, but someone told them that, and they believe that person, except anyone else. And so they continue to go on with these animations for two reasons. It's convenient and it's cheap. And the third reason is they believe that they work. I mean, yeah, the ledge traversal, the ledge jumping... I think it was the best in Anniversary, like, you know, when Lara was using her legs to push herself up from a ledge above, and she was using the ledge to bounce up. Yeah, that's the problem. That these animations just look plainly bad. But I'm ranting. Obviously I'm ranting. I did mention that I'm going to be doing a ranting stream because this game cannot be objectively praised because it does not deserve a praise. It's not a good title. It does not do anything good. Maybe except for elements of the graphics, but the shadows are terrible. The shadow maps are just so bad. So yeah, I have a huge problem with that game. Yeah, I probably should, but you know, in case anyone at any point will ever watch this and will come to Crystals and they will tell them that, oh, he's ranting about it, and then I'll be cancelled, excluded, and whatever. Obviously, they're not gonna be like watching my VODs because they have better things to do, but if someone else watches it and tells them ranting, well, they will just say, oh, whatever they can say on their streams, whatever they can say, but it's not in writing, you know. I don't know, I'm just making stuff up. I don't really expect to be part of the community streams. I would love to stream Shadow because that game is competent for what it was. But I don't think they'll choose me. So yeah, I will be just doing my own thing on my own channel, and that's fine. I don't really have any screen pressure or anything like it. For Christ's sake, why is my overlay so bad in frame rate? Feels like it dies. Like it's about to die. How dare. Like, the game is smooth. Well, I think that... But that, from what I know, the choice isn't actually to Crystal Dynamics because they don't know anything about TRL, so... yeah, it's the fans who pick the levels, not the Crystal, because they know nothing about the TRL. I don't think they knew much about it when they took over. It's nice that someone actually noticed them, but yeah, they really don't know anything about it. Why is my overlay so bad? The animation is... Yeah, that's funny thing that they haven't noticed that before. But I think that they noticed that only now. That's so weird. As in use what? Oh no, it works. Oh no, that's no problem. I'm not in a hurry of anything. Oh, I don't think so. I don't think how can TRE stuff really help them. I don't believe that they can. For the one part, even if they wanted to use the story, they would have to first of all acknowledge the maker, and secondly, they would have to probably pay them because it's legally required. Because someone would have to could sue them for like not acknowledging them or whatever, and not regulating that with them. Even if someone says, yeah, sure, take my idea for free, they would be in for a big problem, in big trouble if they try to do anything with it. I'm kind of bothered with the sound, so I'm just gonna shut it. Yeah, if anyone asks me, that is probably one of the reasons why it has been like that before, that they've been ignoring TRL stuff, because it's really not something you can actually notice. Like, who can milk it? No one knows TRL. It's been given to the community as a tool. There is literally no one that can release any other version to it in the entire Square Enix. The people who invented it are no longer either in the industry or they're no longer part of Square Enix, so they have nothing and they don't own anything. It's part of the franchise, but it's not like TRL is like a registered trademark or anything like it. I don't think they can actually control it in terms of like milking it in any capacity. That's something I don't believe it's even possible. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. I don't have to be right on that. Right, this was a chill stream indeed. Yeah, sure, there is a potential, but I don't think they can do anything about it. I don't think they want to. I did remember Megan mentioning something about that they would probably do like a thing for the tier leads, so they could gather the community around them and, you know, just play some games and maybe even play the main titles as well, and that will be fun. I think that was something that's been lacking ever since Crystal Dynamics took over. The initial reaction from the studio for classic Tomb Raider is that we don't acknowledge, we don't talk about the classic Tomb Raider. Because even if they wanted any sort of, I don't know, fan art to be featured on the walls of the studio, they were very specific. Yeah, the small print said, do not use any of the non-legend or anniversary or any Crystal Lara. I mean, any other than Crystal Lara is not going to be included, so fuck off. So they literally told all of the fans of the previous games that they should take ownership for, fuck off, we were not going to acknowledge the existence of classic Lara. We are going to make our own Lara. We're going to do her on our terms, on our way. We took them from you, and there's nothing you can do. Well, as I say, there is no one who can add editing tools. I don't think they're like rebooting the game again. I mean, I'm not sure if they are in here, but either way, I do believe that this is an investment. This would require resources, and I don't think Square Enix is really happy about giving them more resources than they've already been given for this entire celebration. I think it's money and people behind it that is the biggest problem here. Because I do feel that genuinely Neha and Megan would like to give us whatever we'd like to. But on the other hand, they are part of the system that is, you know... Well, they said they're going for a unified timeline, and they said that the anime that is going to be on Netflix is going to be... it's going to bridge the gap between the reboot and the next games. So I don't think they're gonna ditch the 2013 reboot or the Survivor trilogy as they call it altogether. They will try to continue the Survivor trilogy but throw more iconic classic stuff into it, and Lara will probably be more mature. I don't think they're going to be like ending with it. I think they're just gonna move the direction, move the balance to more classic oriented stuff, like dual pistols if we ever get them, or like shorts, or like, you know, ponytail, or like braid, those kinds of things. I don't know. It's really hard to make out at this point. I don't think they have an idea what they're gonna do. Honestly, I don't think they have a clue about what they want to do, because they kind of cornered themselves right now. They said that they want to acknowledge every era, every Lara, but I don't think that's doable with the reboot, because the reboot is totally incompatible characteristically Lara's character is the problem. She is incompatible between the classics and the reboot. And even LAU Lara is incompatible with the reboot one, because the way she acted upon everything with her own mother, it was totally different, and it was actually spot on. That's how Lara would react if she was actually in that situation, I think. So yeah, LAU still was closer to what Tomb Raider should be about, even with the family drama that they unnecessarily just shoehorned into the game. Either way, I think those eras are incompatible. And whatever they try, it's going to be like, yeah, this is like a huge mishmash of stuff. It's like a weird combination of things, but neither of them in particular. So, yeah, they might mention some things that I might hint towards the classics. There are going to be a lot of Easter eggs, probably a lot more than, you know, normally. And it's probably going to be it. I don't expect her to become a proper badass. Yeah, but the thing is, Legend Lara was different. Deliberately, they were likely told to cut off from the crap that was done with AOD. You have to see this. After they decided to move to a different developer, it was only natural to give the next game a different tone to cut off from AOD. Because in the end, characteristically, in terms of how she behaves, Lara in Underworld is quite similar, and she's the end result of Legend. She's quite similar to AOD Lara. She doesn't have patience anymore. She loses her patience quite a lot. She just gets straight to the point in her conversations. She doesn't bullshit people, and when approached by someone who's technically her ally, she does not fear to tell him off. Like, she told off, drop a zip or I'll drop you. It was like, wow, that was dark. That was AOD. That was hardcore. That's what I would expect AOD Lara to do. So yeah, they changed the game that was, you know, between AOD and the Crystal era. They had to make her totally different tonally, so it's going to be more attractive, more interesting, and more intriguing. But the further it went down the lane, especially continuing with Underworld, it went really, really dark and really heavy. So in my opinion, that was... yeah, you could see that transition. Tonally, she was all nice and dandy at the beginning of Legend, but at the end, you could see that she loses her temper very easily, just like she does in AOD. And she doesn't do bullcrap anymore. So, you know, Lara with testosterone issues. I don't think so. She was reacting to the stuff that happened. And to be honest, if I was in her position after Tomb Raider Legend, you know, after the encounter with her mother, like, you know, through that mirror glass, or like, mirror, whatever it is. Honestly, I thought that he's, like, surprised, you know. I don't know, it's just... I do have a feeling like they're going to be just making a very, very weird game that is not going to satisfy anyone. I think they should do totally different games. Like, sure, continue the reboot, do whatever you like with that. Like, make that be your Lara, but let another studio make a smaller game. It doesn't have to be a AAA title. It doesn't have to look amazing. Like, it doesn't have to look like another Uncharted, because I don't really care about Uncharted. But let it look like Underworld, you know. It doesn't have to have the same animations like Underworld or whatever. Let it look like Underworld, but have the freedom, you know. Let it be just fun for the fun's sake. Like continue greedy, serious, shallow Lara from Reboot. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. I don't negate that they need to do something that is their own. And actually someone asked today, how would I feel about if they made a spin-off game with a different character but within the Tomb Raider universe? How would I feel about it? And I was like, I don't care. I mean, don't, because if it's not Lara, I'm not gonna touch it, because I don't care about any other character. I cared about Lara Croft. If I cared for any other characters in similar games, I would be playing. The problem is that people who had heart for Legacy of Kain are no longer within Crystal. And they have to do something. They have to earn the money. So they're not going to let go for Tomb Raider because it gives profit, whatever they do. It gives money. And all these collabs, you know, the collaborations with other franchises, that gives money as well. Because there is an agreement, there is a permission that will allow people to use that franchise. You know, that name, that logo, whatever, that iconic look of Lara. And they're not going to give that away, so yeah, it's not happening. I do have a feel, I do feel like you, that Crystal never had the heart for Tomb Raider. They never understood it properly. They were very close in Underworld, like, they were really, really close. Lara's moveset, the ability she could do, the stuff that she could, the way she could defend herself was beautiful. I loved it. But they continue with that annoying family drama, and it was really hard to follow it. And yeah, I do have a feeling that Square Enix turns out to be a little bit of another Konami. You know, Konami killed Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill, and they are not even ashamed of it. And there is rumor that they're gonna do or sign a contract with one of the studios in the US to make a, I'm not sure if it's a reboot, but they will definitely want to like continue the series. And I think that's a mistake, that, you know, that they don't have the people who made the originals, and they don't have anyone else who can actually do that properly. If they signed the contract with the Bluebird team, and Bluebird team is going to make another Silent Hill, I'm not looking forward to it, because Bluebird team made a few good games and a few bad games, and I don't know. I'm having a problem with that. But that's for another debate. I'm ending the stream now. I don't know if anyone's on at the moment, and if there's any point in raiding anyone, but I will do that anyway, because I do like to pass it along. Jill's on, Miss Uki's on, Tomb of Ashes doing Tomb Raider 2. Ash from... Oh, I don't want to see that game. That's always a tough one when someone is actually streaming something you don't want to see. Well, the Worldly Gamer is doing No Loads, No Meds, and I think he's in the Catacombs of Tomb Raider 4. I want to see if he does it, because he's in the section which literally kills you. I'm just gonna wait and see if he actually dies here, or will he survive and continue. I'm very curious about it. But if he dies and quits, and then I will probably raid Agent XB, because yeah, I haven't been on Agent XB's streams for quite a while, and I feel ashamed. because I always find it quite entertaining and interesting to listen to her. Oh my god, he did it. He's a fucking master. That's such a tough moment. You never seen Agent XP streams? Oh dear. I mean, I prefer to watch her play than build, because building is sometimes quite tedious. I don't mind building. I for instance, quite enjoy watching sometimes when he's streaming, what's his name? Tom Reginald. But I normally don't like to watch stuff like level building, because I like the mystery, you know. I don't want to see how the level was put together to later play it, so I don't like to watch a lot of that stuff. But yeah, I think we're gonna just pay a Worldly Gamer a visit. Tomorrow I will be doing a new Zelda game I've obtained. Zelda game Link's Awakening from 2019. I obtained it today on the last day of promo on Nintendo Switch, so I'll be doing that around noon. And I'll continue with Control in the evening. So yeah, I'll be doing a lot of stuff in the next few days. See, did I spell it right way? Worldly, yeah, that makes sense. Worldly Gamer. Alright, the raid is up. Whoever wants to go over, I highly recommend. Mark is absolutely awesome. He's a master. Thanks for the discussion. Oh, that's wrong. Actually, we're Raiden. God damn it. Shut up. That's the one.
Warning. Self-destruct sequence has been initiated. Warp core overload in 4 minutes, 55 seconds. There will be no further audio warnings.
Anyway, thanks for chatting. Thanks for watching me struggle with this game mentally, because the game is not even a challenge. The stream is rating someone else. Okay, that's fine. But yeah. Thanks for today, Season, and I'll see you next time. Have a great evening. And yeah, I'll see you next time.